going on. So technically, I'll let Zonk introduce it, but we are actually on number 8 again. We said 8 last
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
8 again.
Right before the last podcast started, I was like, all right, is this episode 7 or 8? And everybody's like, oh, yeah, it's 7. And I was like, all right, welcome to podcast episode 8, everyone. And so this is actually podcast episode 8. And we're doing something a little bit different this week. So the past couple weeks, we were doing 2 dungeons a week. We did like a little deep dive and then kind of did some other ranting. There's been a ton of news. There's probably less news this week than there has been in the past, but we're not doing 2 dungeons this week. I think we are still kind of working on kind of finalizing some of that stuff, and we'll have some stuff kind of towards the end. So stick around, and we're definitely eliciting feedback. And then we're going to basically go through the stuff we've been up to for the last week, as well as the stuff we have coming up for the upcoming week. So I think with everything we have going on, that there's going to be plenty to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So in the news world, though, the World First race is over. I don't know if either of you have been following that.
Yeah. This week's been busy, too. Like, everybody.
I've been hitting F5 on the page.
Yeah.
I watched the stream a little bit, but for the most part, I've just been watching on my phone. I've been working and stuff.
Yeah.
And by working, I mean leveling teams.
I was really into it for like the first 7 bosses, and then the one boss was bugged for a while.
Sludgefist, yeah.
Yeah, Sludgefist, and then I didn't really think it was like that interesting of a fight. And like an obscene number of pull counts. So I think I lost interest there. And then when they got to Stone Generals or whatever, like that fight is actually just stupid. So I didn't watch any of that. I actually really liked the Denathrius fight, but at that point I had been lost. So it's cool that they ended, but I think like people are going to be in an uproar about the whole like reset day thing. So
Probably.
I'm curious to see what comes out of that. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like in a weird spot, but I don't know.
I mean, the only way to, I think, really solve this problem is to set up the world's first race like a tournament, make like a tournament realm. It's literally for world's first, and they don't reset it. Like, it goes until you guys kill it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the problem is like just based on how these guilds, like there's a lot of strategy to like doing splits and like getting gear. Like
they're doing splits, they're auction house splitting, they're transferring plat or gold everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're even selling. They're like, they're selling for like, they're paying people to basically say like, hey, like if you already have a 213 piece on your chest, but you are eligible to get
join this run with me.
Yeah, exactly, join this run. And they're like, I saw Echo doing that, and they're paying like 700,000 gold per person. That like if they got the item and they traded it, they would give them 700K, which is quite a bit of gold. But at the same time,
yeah,
for them it wasn't.
And
it wasn't a big deal.
They have farm crews. I was watching part of the stream. And like Osmongold was interviewing a team, and they were talking about like the dedicated farmers and crafters they have in their guilds. And so part of me is like, well, it's a cool meta game that it's what it takes to hit world first. But at the same time, if you made like a dedicated server and that didn't go away, it's truly an even playing field.
Yeah. So the first hurdle though, right, is that Blizzard has still never officially recognized this at all in that kind of context, right? This has all been like organically created.
Yeah, this is a community event.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. And then at the same time though, they're able to get a lot of sponsors and everything like that too, which was kind of like the controversial thing that happened. I don't know if you guys saw, but when Echo hit the last boss, hopefully I'm saying his name right, Denathrius, they cut their streams off for 24 hours, and
so people couldn't see the strategy.
Exactly, yeah. So they didn't want to see their strats.
So
at
all the sponsors are pissed off.
So
I think they had less sponsors because Echo is essentially like Method's like offshoot. So I think they just had less skin in the game.
Yeah, and Limit actually said that they couldn't do that even if they wanted to because do their sponsors' contractual obligation. But it caused a huge uproar though, and a lot of people that were kind of on the fence kind of like shifted away because this is basically turned into a very entertaining venue.
Yeah.
And on that, and then like the most epic boss of the entire thing, the last one, and you don't show it for a full 24 hours.
Like, hey,
it's a little rough, yeah. But I see on their side like
Super Bowl.
their whole game is like play to win, right? Anything they can do, win. So I see the angles of it, but yeah, like at the end of the day, what's enabling them to even do this in the first place? You know, by the sponsorships, which kind of pay for the event and everything to make it happen. I mean, I don't know. It's like a give and take, right? So.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I don't. I think it's like I think what's also interesting is like, yeah, if you took everyone out of that equation, like all of the people that they're like trading loot with, and all the people that are farming like mythic BOEs, like if you took all of that out and put everyone like on a true level playing field, like I feel like the world first race would not be over in like less than 10 days. I feel like it would be like 2 to 3 weeks at least. Like there's so
easily.
much external support.
Could
But
even be
what's
a month with the reset.
Yeah. What's also interesting though too is how Limit has like people that aren't in the raid that pretty much lead the raid. Like their raid leader is not in the raid. The person that manages their healing cooldowns is like not in the raid. Like they've got a ton of like staff that basically just like does all of like the strategies and like the raid cooldowns and all of this crazy stuff, but like they're not in the raid, which is
it's totally
super
evolved.
unique.
Yeah, it evolved. I wondered why that happened, and I was able to find it in BFA. There, I think it was the Ashara dungeon or whatnot. So the second to last dungeon or a raid of the expansion, one of the bosses only required one tank. So Max for Limit sat out. So so we sat out and basically shot called from the side, and then they're like, wow, this is just way more effective. And so from that, they started to run into issues after that fight, and he was like, well, I'm just gonna. And they were all. This is before COVID, so they were all sitting in a
in that one room.
Yeah, in the one room, they're all together. Like so there was no
setup.
latency or anything. He was like, well, I'm just gonna look at somebody else's screen and just shot call it from here, and like it turned out super effective. Like it was very, very effective. So from that, it kind of spawned this like extra like tier, you know, like we're turning into like a Formula One like franchise or whatnot.
Yeah, it's like a sports team where they've got, you know, people in headsets calling out plays and stuff.
Yep, exactly. Soon they're gonna have like code words and everything, like it's a baseball or a football match, you know, where they're just like
Zulu, 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 and you're like, what's that? And then like everybody pops cooldowns. You're like, what?
Yeah, exactly, because the other team's trying to look at your strats and they can't figure out what's going on. It's like, no, we need to know what that hand signal was.
Hand signals for like swap tanks and stuff.
Yeah. I know that's a little bit farther off from the whole multiboxing thing, but it's kind of like within our realm, right? Like we're primarily playing World of Warcraft, and a lot of these teams actually do on the side multi-box up their characters to start off with anyways to kind of make it more efficient.
Yeah.
So
they'll basically level like DPS guys. I'll see them leveling a couple DPS.
Yep. And
so they can swap in like, you know, like maybe I level a mage and a warlock, or I level 2 mages, so I have one that's like geared out in fire, one that's ready in frost. So whatever becomes top tier, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
And wasn't there rumors that they were boxing all of the covenants to try to find best in slot and have the high renown so they could swap in based off the fights?
They were doing that, or like in a more simplistic way, like if you primarily play a tank, you just level like 5 different tanks, but you do it at the same time. So you wouldn't do it as fast as a solo, but you get them done in like maybe like 50% more time, but it would take you like significantly less time than doing all 5 individually. So yeah, and then they also do like their dailies and things like that too. They can do all those together if they want, because I've actually found the dailies in WoW, they all match up. I was really worried about that. There's really not a huge reason that you can't mix covenants too much, besides doing the internal quest lines.
I think that's gonna be a play soon when you see all the different abilities.
Oh yeah.
There's a weird
or the different like dungeon mechanics. No, you're fine.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, we just discovered that this week. My concern was always like we just don't like. My whole thing with covenants was always like we don't know how much effort it's gonna be, so like probably just gonna keep the whole team on like one covenant until like we know.
Yeah, totally.
Now it's like I don't think that that's necessarily the case, but like there's certain, but with like same class teams, like I think it's like more in your interest to stay within the same covenant. Like my team is like all what's the Maldraxxus one?
Necrolord.
Yeah, they're all Necrolord because of Fleshcraft, which is like this awesome shield. So if I didn't have Fleshcraft on like a character, then
shields too, pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, that is a benefit though, a side benefit. Like if you do have the Fleshcraft, it's nice that they all have it, right? Or if like you're doing Kyrian, they all have the Hellstone, basically, things like that.
Or like if you were to do Venthyr and do like Door of Shadows or whatever, like that would be a total mess. Like you wouldn't even use it if you weren't all Venthyr.
I'll be honest, I don't even use it anyways as Venthyr. I don't know why. I don't know the skips and everything I could be utilizing it with, but Yeah.
Well, and then if you play druids, there's only one covenant. Let's be real.
Yeah. Well, maybe convoke is okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right. It's all right. It's not as good as that trinket. Just kidding.
The one the PvP trinket where you get out of CCs.
There you go.
It's like
that
pop
one.
trinket, hit convoke, you win 3v3.
I think you just have to bait the interrupts, Days. I think that's what you're missing. If you just bait the interrupts, then you can just press convoke. Although you have to be at range, so
yeah, I think also at the same time
you clone until you get interrupted and fake them out, and as soon as they do it, just hit convoke.
Yep, that's the play.
I don't know. You only live like 5 seconds in PvP right now. Like literally,
if there's a rogue,
the play
it's
is so
1 second,
fast. Yeah.
In Moonkin form though, isn't like the feral charge or whatever? Isn't that like disengage?
It's a knockback. It's like a disengage.
Yeah, you can disengage and just convoke spirits.
Is it the same one that renewal is on, or no?
Yeah, it's the same tier.
Renewal is huge for us. It's huge. It's like it feels like a big old heal. It's like clunk. I don't know. Either way, we'll try to keep on our schedule here. Let's see.
Talking about stuff from this week.
Yeah. Okay.
So, who wants to start? Who wants to go first?
I think Zach, you should talk about your comp.
We should talk about priests. So I've been talking about priests for months.
This comp actually has a name, doesn't it?
It's the Wobble Fart comp. Yeah, absolutely. And I've been kind of like I thought even before Shadowlands, like Dutch and I were going back and forth, like talking about how fun Shadow Priest would be to play. And they're just like, I don't want to say they're really good, because I think that they have a cap or a limit. And they are still a caster team. But I think aside from maybe 4 balance, I think 4 Shadow Priest is probably the best caster team. They bring a ton of nifty tools and little crazy things that kind of come along, and their DPS is really good right now. It is kind of revolved around cooldowns, power infusion, etc. But it's not I don't think it's as revolving around abilities as druids are with Convoke Spirit. I think that's the difference.
It's not as defining.
Are you popping power infusion and drums, so you're getting?
I was going to ask, does that stack?
I don't know. I haven't been buying drums or using drums.
Oh, you're missing out in life.
I feel like they're expensive. I've thought about bringing in a shaman though. I wonder how a shaman would do if you had a shaman and 3 shadow priests.
So resto shaman, 3 shadow.
Probably do Ellie. Because I think what the team is missing is AoE. Their AoE is kind of underwhelming, but their cleave is really good.
Cleave is really good, yeah. I think you can kind of spec towards AoE, but you kind of sacrifice a little single target in the meantime.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They have burst windows that include some AoE, so I can absolutely destroy a 3 or 4 pack in no time.
You just
every 2 minutes.
Everything.
Yeah, you multi-dot everything, and then you do the explosion ability, and that just cleaves like crazy. Mindseer does a very nominal amount of damage, so it's not really that great for the most part. But I'm kind of curious to see how the team does with gear, because they're 160 right now, and I feel when I get to 170 or 175, it's gonna I'm gonna have a much better picture of how good this team is or how far I can take them. But I gotta say the one thing I don't like about them is I feel I've been getting kind of tired with them. Playing a caster team is kind of tiring because you kind of have to be very precise in your movement, whereas I feel you can be a little less so with a melee team or a hunter team.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you touched a little bit on it. I want to just note on the gear thing, because I didn't notice that as well. But you're able to get much better eye level gear now than you were before, I guess, because you said that it unlocked
from the AH,
yeah, from the auction house. So when you have a fresh team, it was really rough when the expansion first came out, right? It was there was pretty much nothing to choose from. I don't even think you could get the 151 stuff. And
there's the 168, pretty common. It's expensive, but it's pretty common.
Yeah, and then exactly, and it makes it a lot easier to ease into these dungeons if you can afford to do it, at least on your tank and hopefully the rest of your comp. But if you can have your whole team at kind of mid 160s, doing a normal obviously wouldn't be too bad, and then doing a heroic, you're kind of at the appropriate level, as opposed to walking in there 130, 140s. And you're oh my God, why does everything hurt?
151 though, because I was I'm not spending this kind of gold because I know how fast.
Yeah, I'm super poor.
Yeah,
I'm new to this. I'm new to Sargeras, so I just bought 151, but then like I got to like 154 item level, and my priests were all like 156, and I was like, screw this, and I spent like 5,000 gold on a couple of rings just to push myself over
Just
the
to
edge.
get it, yeah.
But it's like
So you
super
can just
frustrating getting
random
to that
queue.
heroic level. Yeah, exactly.
And
It really is when you're like 1 or 2 item levels off, and it's like you need two things to drop on each character to push like 2 item level,
so an
or
interesting,
spend 20,000 gold.
if you're really close, an interesting way to cheese that is it goes off your bag eye level, not your equipped.
Yep.
So you can buy a 200 eye level trinket in the auction house, get above that, never actually equip it, and then when you're finally above that piece, you can just put it on your other teams or just sell it back in the auction house. If like you're really
I didn't
concerned
even-
with
I
the
didn't
gold.
even think about
every
that.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically how I get into heroics until I'm high enough every time. But this go around on my first team, I actually equipped all the trinkets because I wanted the Dark Moon cards, because like that haste buff on hunters is awesome.
Yeah, there's some.
Well, the
pretty good-
Darkmoon card trinkets are pretty good too. Just like the raw stats they give, and stats are like the
Yeah.
best thing right now. Like secondary stats aren't really worth that much. Primary stats are just so good. So yeah, the Darkmoon card for most I think is like 5K now. I got them for 5K, so I didn't
Yeah,
think it was
wow.
that bad.
The DPS ones have dropped significantly then.
Yeah, I think one of the
Yeah, I
I think
was
the
paying
melee
25
DPS one
on
was still
top.
expensive.
Okay.
I think I spent almost 150,000 gold on trinkets.
But it's good eye level though. It's good eye level. But yeah, like,
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully they come down a little bit. Yeah, they were pretty pricey in the beginning, but yeah, hopefully not now on that piece.
So what did you do to your demon hunter to make his damage go up, or was that just as his item level went up? Because he used to lag behind your priest quite a bit, but I saw a couple of fights where he was actually ahead of him.
Yeah, the demon hunter does fine. He's just he's like the least geared character of the bunch because there's no loot sharing.
Yeah,
So I mean, that's kind of the downside of playing a cloth team, is that you can't just like run a cloth tank. Also kind of the downside of like a male team, right? Like your tank kind of lags behind. My weapons are like incredibly awful. They're like 140s. So yeah, I think with a few more pieces, it would be fine. Like I did Halls of Ascension, or not Atonement.
Halls of Atonement.
Yeah. Days has me mixed up on those. So I did Halls of Atonement earlier, and like my poor tank, like bosses were fine, but like my poor tank just like struggles on big mob pulls, just like absolutely falls over. So it's like a real challenge just to keep my tank alive. But I think that it's going to get better. The only thing I'll say about demon hunters is that like be ready to kite, because I think that doesn't really change that much. I think they're just good at kind of kiting and doing damage.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That is one thing I hope that Blizzard, I don't know if they're going to make a new class in the future, hopefully at some point, but like they really need a male tank. And
a male tank would be awesome.
Yeah, and they can even
Then
put
you could have
shaman as
shaman's
that.
hunters and a male tank.
Yeah, you could even do shaman as like as a
make
fourth
an
spec.
enhancement.
Yeah,
Tank spec.
Something like that. Or and then I guess it wouldn't hurt. I mean, I'm sure they could come up with a design
Guardian
for a cloth
Druid
one.
exists. It's a 4-spec class. Make a
Yeah, Rockbiter Shaman would be dope.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know there's been a lot of, people like making some fantasy designs on that. But I mean, yeah, there's literally 3 leather tanks and two plate?
3 plate.
3 plate? Yeah, 3 plate. Like how did Mail get 0 in the whole process? It's made it really interesting in this.
Because apparently leather's stronger than mail.
I don't know. If I had
Seems
a choice.
little weird.
Yeah.
I agree.
But
we need a cloth tank just before we get a mel tank, just for the max troll.
Yeah, I'm just like thinking like what class would even like make sense to be like a cloth or a male tank, and like I can't really think of any.
A monk should be cloth. Let's be real.
Yeah, a monk
would have been good.
Yeah, and I feel like Vengeance Demon Hunter should have been male in the grand scheme of things, maybe, or like you could have even moved like a Death Knight down there or something. I don't know.
I was thinking Death Knight, but
yeah.
You kind of brought up that when you're running mixed teams. So like right now I've got plate, cloth, 3 mel in my one group. Some other expansions. This expansion, it just happened because of the hardware boxing change. I was waiting on hardware. So I take advantage of the fact that I'm a tank with instant Qs. And so I actually ran my Paladin solo to 61st. And then by the time I went through and leveled the rest of my group, he was getting extra pieces. So he's actually my most geared character. But other expansions where, starting off, sometimes that was a strategy I would use. I would go queue the tank a few times so I could see the fight mechanics, get some extra gear, and then go multi-box it. I don't recommend it. It takes longer. And on my priest, as you guys saw yesterday, it's not exactly the best, but I fixed the current state. I'll talk about that more in a little bit. But sometimes I'll even use healers to go get like extra trinkets, or I'll join raid finder queues that are instant queues. Go get those extra trinkets just to push my item level so I can keep doing mythic plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, tank is like the best character if you're gonna go do that, just to gear your tank.
Yeah, tank or healer, you can get pretty fast queues.
Yeah, and it's just a good bang for your buck, because like the tank is, I feel like can really set the stage for everything else. Like if your tank's falling over, like it doesn't matter how good your DPS is, but if your tank is like able to stay alive, then you have to worry less about healing. You have to worry less about DPS. You just keep your DPS alive, and your tank just stays up.
Yeah, and there is a side benefit too of doing the solo that I'm sorely missing out on, is I don't see any of the routes of what the optimal run for a lot of these dungeons are, and I don't know I guess if you had the time, that is a good option, just to like
I didn't
do a
do it
couple
by
of them.
choice.
Yeah.
But it's not my preferred method, but
now you
have
know
the hardware.
Yeah, now you know like on some of the dungeons, like, oh, you're supposed to go this way, or you can skip this pack and things like that. So
or click the shiny spear; it does a lot of damage.
Yeah, exactly, that too. Or you can stack them. Just make sure you target
that one
the
I
boss.
found out on accident, but like I was watching some of the paths on your stream. I think it was Monday in Plaguefall. I didn't even know they were there. Like I've just been running my own path and trying to skip things within, where they had you run and fall down by that big giant green guy. I didn't even know you could do that.
No, didn't know that either. Exactly. Yeah. The spears on Necrotic Wake, though, just make sure when you actually throw them on multiple characters, you're actually targeting the boss. Because
so you don't have a separate assist keybind, do you? It's only in your DPS macro.
Yeah. No, I have a separate assist one that assists my main. I do have a separate one.
Yeah, you should, so you can assist and interact with target.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah, but I just for whatever reason didn't do that. So if you don't have anything targeted and you try to throw the spear, like your guy just like chucks it right next to you on the floor.
He like throws it back and let's go while it's midair.
Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. All right, so to wrap up Zoc on there, you had your comp though is, I'm not sure if they made it abundantly clear, but it's a Demon Hunter and 4 Shadow Priests. But you're thinking about trying something else, you think? As well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like getting bored with the comp. Like it's definitely still viable. It's just like, I don't know, it feels really exhausting having to keep like 4 DPS alive, being hybrid healers. And like Shadow Priests are really good, but Shadow Priests are also very squishy. So I kind of want to, I'm always the kind of person to have multiple teams, but I definitely want another team that is maybe a little bit more resilient and a little more face roll. So
yeah.
I'm thinking of either going like 1 Paladin, 4 Death Knight, or I was even kicking around the idea of doing like Paladin, 2 Death Knight, 2 Warrior. And then I would like always have like a 3v3 team that I would like. Yeah. But I don't know how well that would translate to dungeons.
I would just throw a Brewmaster in there too, just have like one of each. Get the 5% melee in there. I don't know.
What else would you throw in there? I'm sorry, I think I missed that.
No, like a Brewmaster maybe. I don't know. Like you just get the 5% physical extra damage. Probably not the best, but apparently right now in PvP, Windwalker monks are absolutely insane. And you could if you watched the world first race on there too, you would see that the highest DPS in there was a Windwalker monk. Like he was sustaining 11,000 DPS, like comparatively to like what we're doing ridiculous in dungeons, which is like 2K. Like if we do 3K DPS, we're like, oh my god, that was pretty good.
That was a good kill, guys.
Yeah, they're over there with. I have no idea how they're doing that high, because even when their eye level was way lower, they were still sustaining really high numbers. We can't do that with multiboxing. We can just hope we get somewhat close to that. So.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's buffs and consumables
that's
too.
True. They are popping everything.
All of the buffs with all the consumables, with food, with flask.
Yes.
You pre-pot and pot again when that pot falls off. You can do a lot.
That's true. That's
they actually got rid of pre-potting.
They did get rid of that, yeah. But that is important.
Yeah,
though,
I know. I saw that. I went to pre-pot and it didn't work. I was like, what?
when you sim yourself on raid bots now, make sure you click off all the buffs that you don't have to give it a very fair.
You saw how mine went from 2.9 to 2.3 just by removing consumables.
It's
and
massive.
Yeah.
It is massive.
Mine was like 2,700 to 2K. But what's nice about the Shadow Priest is I'm doing like 1,600 over long fights, so I'm doing 75 to 80% of my sim damage.
If you're getting 75% of your sim or better, I feel like that's I don't know. You always want to improve, right? But you're not in bad shape at the grand scheme of things. Because the average player is probably pumping. They're never pumping 100% anyways, and you're going to expect out of a pug. So.
Well, dungeons are weird too. You can't really look at like a 5-minute patchwork sim and say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this damage in a dungeon.
You usually only get one cooldown set on a dungeon fight, whereas on a 5-minute fight you'll have multiples.
Yep. Yeah. And you also want like a more well-rounded team too that can kind of do some AOE as well as.
That's what I'm severely missing right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying that Mindster is not good. I thought it'd be better.
It's like a nice filler.
Are you using it on your main tank to make it easier? By chance?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it casts it on the focus target, and I just keep my tank focused.
Nice. Okay. That works.
And then I've got a macro that with a modifier casts like power word shield on focus, and if I don't have a modifier, it just does power word shield on itself essentially.
Yeah.
And then I do the same thing with Shadow Mend.
Okay.
So
cool.
I have like a way to heal myself and a way to heal the tank, and then like Vampiric Embrace does quite a bit of healing too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have some good stuff in a deep dive video for sure.
Did you touch on it last week? I mean, it's kind of awesome right now that we're all basically hardware boxing. We're all full 5 boxing and really kind of not pushing the limit, but we're pushing the content now. I feel like we're definitely on a roll here. But have you been hardware boxing now for a week? Has it been a week?
Yeah, it's been about a week.
Okay.
So I got like 2 formations done. It's gone pretty. I mean, it's gone pretty smoothly for the most part. It's not software boxing.
Yeah, and you kind of dabbled with everything though. You've taken a taste of everything. I think at this point to kind of see how it all feels.
Yeah. I didn't want to jump into anything too hastily. I wanted to make sure like whatever I decided that I was going to be like happy with that decision, and there wasn't going to be why didn't I do this instead? So
probably the best
like
approach.
I made my decision. It was the decision I was originally going to make anyways, but like now at least if they ban hardware tomorrow, I'm not gonna be like, man, I should have gone and played like Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, now you can play Final Fantasy on 5 computers.
Or 4, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Computers are rough right now.
All right, lol/toned.
I'm going to, at some point, just drop toned, I think, but because of dualboxing.com, and this is the multiboxing podcast, that name just kind of never went away. Because that's where I used to post and hang out. I'm actually spending more time in your Discord than anywhere probably now.
It is nice. It is nice. Yeah, the Discord for this, and we will be adding channels for my phone. Okay, sorry.
Did you mute?
No. The wife was like, "Hey,
let me get your phone."
Yeah, I don't know what she needs my phone for. I changed the password, so
she's gonna lock it again.
I guess so. Yeah. I'm gonna so in the Discord I'll be making a channel for both of you guys on there to kind of facilitate, to make it easier, because Zach, you had mentioned too you're gonna hopefully start streaming as well. Not pushing you towards
I'm looking at Sunday nights.
Yeah, I gotcha. So with that, it makes you it's really been positive. It's been good. I've been happy with how it the activity on there is
it's kind
really
of
nice.
Just become the multiboxing Discord. I feel like there's almost everybody you see on dualboxing.com in there. Some other people that I've never met before. And
again, for anybody watching, that was not the goal. it
wasn't. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, it was just nice. I just wanted a place to to kind of post stuff without feeling either way.
Honestly, I used to hang out in the ISBoxer Discord like every day.
And I still look at the ISBoxer Discord quite a bit.
Yeah, I've been looking at it less and less. The place kind of imploded, and
yeah, I've only been in it once. I am in the dual boxing Discord. I don't really see much in there.
So to be fair on their side too, I mean they literally got stuck with like a rock and a hard place in a bad situation in terms of like just negative commentary, and they had to like change the style so it has like the slow mode enabled because people were just complaining all the time, right? So it was almost like there was people wanted to go someplace where it was a little more positive. I think that's what kind of like ended up happening in that front.
Well, they didn't want to argue with people over like what the new because people just talk about the new rule all the time in the Iceboxer Discord. It's like the primary focus of any conversation. And if you try to have fun there, then somebody salty is going to come along and tear you down.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I was pissed, but like I wasn't like posting about it. I was just like, well, this sucks, and I was doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was watching his stream, and it kind of made me go, apparently I should look at this again.
But there is, I will say, there is still value over there. They've been a lot more positive, but there still is, like the sprinkle of people that are still angry or whatnot. I don't know. Everything is kind of just still evolving, right? But that's
Sounds like your infamous head GM. Good job, Jaeger.
Exactly. All right. So with that, I guess we'll go with LOL then. How's your week been going? Because you're basically, you started off, you've been kind of about the same time, about a week and a half, right?
So
at this point,
I think I'm a week ahead of Zoc and a week behind you, maybe
Okay.
2 weeks behind you.
Gotcha.
Because I think I got to 60 on my Paladin when you finished 60 on your first team. And then that weekend, my hardware showed up, and I don't know. I feel like you had a month head start.
I need that
jumped
though.
in.
My playtime is way less than you guys. It's not fair.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like you jumped in first.
Yeah.
Because hardware boxing is not rocket science, but it's different, right? So I feel like it's going to take about 3 weeks to a month to really get your setup, get it optimized, figure out what you like, what you don't like while you're leveling. And so you had the advantage of you were killing Mythic Plus in BFA before Shadowlands came out with hardware, which was pretty cool. So I think that was a smart move. I'm right now pretty much going to be binging WoW for like the next week or so with the holidays and whatnot. But I started out with my Trinity comp, like we already talked about. I went with the Priest again just because that's what I did last time and it worked fine. Kind of regretting that decision. The Shaman, I think, is an obvious better choice. And then I was really trying to do a setup where I didn't have to change much. And so I kind of went down this rabbit hole of how can I get click healing back. And it works really great in Heroic, and that's about it. Like Mythic, it's just, there's too much, right? So it's just weird. Like before, when you had a mouse overlay, it's literally you're driving on your tank, you mouse over, click, keep doing what you're doing. When you have a KM sync tied to your tank and your healer, you have to be conscious of the fact that if you click wrong, your healer could like beeline somewhere. And in the heat of the moment, when you're like dodging stuff and looking around at like other screens, if you lose your cursor, you're dead.
Yep.
And so I've got a pretty elaborate setup now that I've been noodling on that I'll go finish configuring tonight. And I might stream it later tonight. Otherwise I'll stream it tomorrow. But basically it's kind of my last ditch effort on making the Priest work. I think I got both Holy and Discipline figured out. But it's a combination of kind of what I've always done with auto healing, where there's some abilities I'm just going to cast when I press the DPS button, right? So like circle healing, if I'm holy, I'm just going to cast it every time, right?
Yeah.
But there's a balance of like, don't burn your mana. Because like click healing was super efficient on mana, but as soon as I lost my cursor or like I clicked wrong, it was game over. And then the other thing that really sucked is I had to bind my keys different on my Paladin because like I was clicking to heal. And like my mouse down or mouse up, for example, is like Blessing of Freedom. And I was like freedoming a random hunter instead of just healing him. So then when I unbound it and shit started to go south and I didn't have keybinds, I normally patch heal with my tank. Couldn't do that. It was like mouse over War of Glory was the only option I had. So that was awkward. And so it was like, I don't know, if you saw my stream, like I posted them, I made a collection just for how funny it was because I think 3 out of the 4 bosses I killed with just my Paladin at the end.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and then the 4th one I killed with like, because I was an idiot and I healed the Priest instead of the Paladin, I finished it off with just DPS.
No, you're making the
I
fights
promise
epic.
I don't wipe that much. Yeah, I mean, I don't usually wipe that much, but I was really trying to figure out my setup. But so now it's like a combination of auto casting and then focus healing, but then conditions in my macros with, if I have focus, stop macros. If I don't have focus, do stuff. Some of them are combos where like if there's a focus, cast it on the focus. If there's not, cast it on target. I've even started messing with this is where making my Resto Druid work, where I have cast sequences like everybody else, where it's like cast sequence, rejuvenation null. Well, because I don't want to just spam rejuve, that would waste mana, right? Well, if I have a target reset on target, just switching your focus target doesn't reset your target. But so I've added where normally I'm assisting on my DPS button. I'm actually targeting focus on the healers, and it's resetting the targets. So I'm able to roll hots on my whole team.
Oh,
And
wow.
then
Okay.
I'm thinking of keeping my healers targeting focus, and then when I want them in DPS mode, they're just going to do target. I don't know. I've got like this web of ideas in my head, and I have a hard time speaking when I have this many thoughts going. So I'm like mad scientist trying to get it to work. And I got it to work where I can rotate Power Word Shield pretty easily. I've got it where I can do Renews pretty easy, and I can do Rejuvenation pretty easy. And then I've got my Shaman that I'm leveling up. It's going to go into my Trinity comp. My Druids, I just hit 60 last night / this morning. And I've already started doing dungeons with them. I'll get to the point where I don't know if they'll be my main team. And because that team just hit 60, I started my prop paladins. I've got one Kyrian, and then the rest are Venthyr. My main paladin, I'm just going to leave Kyrian because I'm thinking I'm moving him around teams. So I probably want to have that same play style.
Yeah, I have tried out the Kyrian, by the way. It's not too bad.
Did you do it stacked 5 Kyrian?
Nah, initially I did at level 50, but as a solo one, it doesn't seem too bad.
Solo, it's great.
Yeah. I will say if you stack them, though, I'll probably still do the Venthyr, though.
Yeah, so I'm going to do 4 Venthyr with a Kyrian. And
okay.
So that way I can drop, Venthyr's big red ball of shiny awesome while also keeping the durability on the main tank, right?
Yes, exactly.
Because like Divine Toll helps so much with threat and like mechanics where it's like there's a bunch of casters hit Divine Toll, they all come running into you.
Oh yeah, it cleans the whole situation up, yeah. So you're sort of on I guess you're like you're basically doing the Trinity, but you're trying to like expand beyond that. Like you're trying to like mix it up and do some other stuff too. Because I know actually you just got your Druids to 60 today as well.
Yep. So it's going to be basically my plan is figure out if I'm going prop paladins ×5 or if I'm doing Druids ×5 to push Mythic Plus as like a secondary team. Because basically my plan is I'm trying to optimize Trinity right now with the healers. So I'm going to try every healing class basically to find the right one that feels right.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking I can push high keys with that team. And then if that doesn't work out, I'll have either a Druid or Paladin team on standby that will become my main team.
That is
because my goal is to get 10 plus on every dungeon.
Well, because like for example, on Monday I tried to do some mythic +3 keys with my Druids, and it was a tyrannical week, so the bosses have 40% more hit points. It was just enough hit points. It was just enough hit points that I couldn't do the convoke, basically kill them in 20 seconds combo. And when mechanics start happening and the Druids have to move, the Druids just kind of fall apart when they move. Like they don't.
Well, you've also never done mechanics before.
Exactly,
so
you have to figure them out. Yeah,
3+.
But which is really nice about the Trinity comp though, is like you're forced to do mechanics in the first place, but your team is there's so many avenues to stabilize your team if you mess up those mechanics.
It's a very resilient team.
Yes,
that's kind of what I miss with the Shadow Priest. I have like 4 hunters sitting at like high 40s and a shaman, but I think I did something stupid and I put my shaman on the same account as my demon hunter, so I might move my shaman.
Yeah.
Or I might level up 2 new characters. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, and I still have 5 boosts to 50. I'm deciding what
that
I do
helps
with
a lot
them.
too. Yeah.
So it's like, am I going to boost 5 alliance characters? Can't believe I just said that out loud. Go play with you guys randomly, or am I going to just boost another team?
I'm slowly converting people. We're going to start a wave at some point. Everybody's going to come back to alliance.
No, well, I still have my team that cleared Waycrest 11 in BFA sitting on Mal'Ganis, so that's always an option, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'd rather all my boxing characters be on one server.
And that's my big thing. I've got so many accounts and so many characters on BlackRock right now. It's like moving's expensive. Re-rolling is a lot of time.
Yeah, and it's a big commitment at the same time. Like it can cause like a little bit of burnout too. If you're like trying to just if you feel like you're playing catch up internally all the time, like I got to get this and this and this and done. But 2 things.
I play EverQuest 20 years later. There is no such thing as burnout.
That is true too. I like the enthusiasm there. I think also my Trinity comp too. I'm going to be moving over to Kyrian as well, just because it adds so much more stability.
I feel like Kyrian in Trinity is almost mandatory because of the Hellstone.
Yeah. Well, the Hellstone is amazing, and not only is it amazing, but it removes so many detrimental effects. Like
Poisons,
yeah,
disease,
and even bleeds.
bleed,
Yeah, so like the
and
the
all of these
last.
dungeons are throwing debuffs like they're candy.
Yeah, like a good example is the final boss in Sanguine Depths, General Call or Cal, how do you say his name? So
Yeah.
basically, he does a bleed that starts stacking if multiple people are getting hit on top of that, and like that can be overwhelming. But if you have a double stack of the bleed, you just hit the Hellstone, boom, it's gone. You're
Well,
topped
did
off.
you see the prop pallies have the soul bind where it gives them, not only does it remove it, but then you're immune to it for like 8 to 10 seconds?
Oh, and I saw that, and I was looking at the one too where like you can choose the Hellstone to even give you like an extra 35% more health
Over time.
on top of it. Yeah, which
Yeah.
I don't know, doesn't seem too bad. So, and then there's the other one too where like if you don't out of combat you get a 10% shield every 5 seconds. If you're out of combat for more than 5 seconds, it gives you a 10% health shield. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff like that team. It just makes the Trinity comp is good against because it's so resilient, so it stabilizes so well when you're trying to do mechanics.
And then I have a high mobility Trinity comp team that I made at the end of BFA. I might have made them in Legion. I don't remember. No. Yeah, it was BFA for sure.
Is that like a druid in there?
It's two druids with 3 warlocks.
What kind of warlocks?
Affliction.
Okay, I gotcha. They're actually sending pretty good right now too.
Dot on the move, and then I've got Hellstones and 5 battle reses. It's not nearly as cool as 5 druids because I don't know. I'm becoming a huge fan of the druid team just because I can stealth through so much trash.
No, it's
that alone just makes it so nice.
It's super enjoyable, but then you end up doing a Mythic Plus, and you're like, well, shoot, I've never actually fought any of this trash, and I don't know where I'm supposed to go.
Well,
which is really happened.
Trinity, so I know how mechanics and trash work.
Yep.
That's funny.
It should be good. Yeah, that was definitely an issue. I was like, well, I have to get 100%, and I don't even know what I'm supposed to be pulling here. So, I think what I'm gonna have to do is just basically map out one of the routes that like one of the high raiders do, and then just basically try to kind of weave in with that. I just need to use them.
I'm trying to sit on my 5 boosts to figure out, am I going to do a melee comp or a mixed caster comp? Because I've got enough of those sitting around that they're at 50, so it's not going to be that much effort to take them to 60.
Yeah.
But if I find a gap or I need to stack a certain thing or I need to move accounts around, I got 5 of them, so I can pop up a character here and there.
The every boost that I've used. Every boost that I've used for Legion, I guess there's not a ton of them, right? But for Legion and BFA, completely wasted. Just I boosted the class and then I never used them. So there was that. But the good news is literally getting to 50 these days doesn't feel that bad. I mean, you can knock it out.
50 to 60 kind of sucks.
50 to 60 is a little long.
Getting to 50s seems easy. Yeah. 60s.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's kind of sluggish.
That's why I would suggest doing the storyline because if you can still grind out some dungeons in the storyline mode, anyways, and at least it gives you a path because I don't know, the Threads of Fate, you're like, all right, do whatever you want to do, but then your choices are dungeons is probably the most efficient.
Well, some of those kill the the challenger bonus achievements, objectives, whatever you want. One kills 2%, so that they take a decent amount of effort.
Oh no, they
have Starfall.
They made some massive changes in terms of how long those world quests take, which was well, at least in the storyline, if you go storyline mode, you're typically doing 2 quests, if not 3 quests at the same time in a chunk in a specific area, and then it's all right, move to the next area, which is literally right next door.
I almost never quest, but because I ran my 60 through and I saw that I couldn't queue for a dungeon unless I did some quest.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is stupid. And then I was like, please tell me it's BattleNet wide so I don't have to ever do this again as a multi-boxer. And then I did it. It wasn't too bad. And then I was like, well, I might as well just try the story mode because I'm playing a solo character and almost never doing this. And I actually enjoyed it, whereas every other expansion, I've refused to quest. I just go straight to dungeons.
Yeah, I will say I'm still really enjoying this expansion. Honestly, it's
by far their best since Wrath of the Lich King, in my opinion.
Yeah, even then, I think Legion was really good. Just because
I thought Mop was really good.
Yeah, a lot of people have some nostalgia to Mop, but obviously the ones in the middle, you got WAD and Cataclysm that don't have the best reviews. But yeah, they've knocked it out of the park in this one.
What I didn't like about Myst, not to derail, but real quick, was where you had to upgrade all your gear. Remember, it's not only would I get the piece, but I had to then go get currency to upgrade it 5 times.
Yes, and was it the one where you like had to like modify like the secondary stats too, and then optimize it that way as well? Or
Yeah.
Titan Forging.
Yeah.
okay,
Or they called it something else. I think
Yeah, it
Titan
wasn't
Forging
Titan
might have been
Forging.
Cat.
Titan Forging is where your bonus rolls. So it's like your best in slot, but it's not Titan Forged. Great. I hope I get the next drop.
Yeah, they called it like Thunder Forged or something, and then Caesar
Thunder
Forge
Forge is
had
mop.
something
Yeah.
similar.
we kind of tapped on that a little bit too. Not I think it was on like just like when we were chatting in the Discord. Was that the way they've done the gearing where it takes a lot longer to get the gear. It keeps you engaged a lot more on there too.
Yeah, I liked reforging though when you used to be able to balance stats yourself. That was really fun to me. Like move gems, move secondary stats.
Oh
But
yeah.
the problem is, I think every system that comes out, because WoW has the community size that it does, everybody runs the sims, everybody figures out what's best, and what's best becomes basically mandatory.
Yeah.
Covenant is, I feel like, the first time in a while where they actually got something that gives you choice. And then the way that they did legendaries this time around, and
Gives
a
you
follow
further
up
choice,
question for Zoc that we didn't ask is, what legendaries are you planning to run on your priest? Have you figured that out yet?
I haven't, and I did a little bit of like cursory research into like what was available and like what people were running, and it seemed like for single target damage there really was only one option, but I didn't even look to see where that dropped.
It's raid.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm gonna have to take
that's
a
hurtful.
priest into raid, which is
Yeah.
fine because I have
maybe you
I'll
can just
have
do LFR
AOTC
though
soon
or
enough.
something. I don't know how deep it is in there though, but yeah, I think that's
Yeah, I don't. It's fine. I've killed it, so I've got a Denathrius kill, so that shouldn't be too hard to pug it. And I've healed it all, so
yeah.
it's really not a big
But
deal.
you can do the power infusion one though. That one looks very enticing for multi-boxing.
Yeah,
I
that
feel like
looks
I'm going to be
interesting.
haste capped at that point, so I don't. I feel like it's too much haste.
Never enough.
Can you ever have too much haste?
No, 50% haste seems like a lot.
It sounds awesome.
So
Yeah, but then once I have haste, it's going to be completely useless, and like
yeah,
then
I don't
I'll
know. I
have
feel
to
like you
like
could
not
burst
stack
it
haste.
pretty hard.
Yeah, I
You
don't
can
know.
stack crit though, or stack mastery.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it
I don't know
opens
what
you
the
up
play
to
is
stacking
there,
some
but
good secondary stats.
I'm less excited about that one. It seems like it'd be kind of funny, but I don't know that I want to do Torghast just to laugh at how much haste I have.
It could be a good meme.
Could be, yeah. I mean, the team is kind of
A
a meme to
hasty
begin with.
wobble fart sounds pretty great.
Yeah, I could just cast it all on my Demon Hunter and see what that turns into.
Yes,
Did
I feel like you've just signed up for this.
Yeah, potentially.
did you basically did you sum up your guys' lol your comps there for the week?
So basically, where I'm at is this is just general advice and feedback to everybody who's trying to multi-box and they're getting caught up. Don't give up on a team until they're at least item level 170 or higher, and you have at least a legendary on each character.
I think that's fair.
The amount of stuff that happens, like the game changed. Like look at Elemental, an entire playstyle change. Like at Beast Mastery, suddenly you're throwing flares into tar traps.
Yeah.
So I'm going back and forth. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to go after the tar trap legendary, and then I'm going to go after the serpent sting legendary on marksman. I'll probably do the marksman one first, and if I'm still struggling, then I'll go to the beast mastery one. Because one of the things that I like about marks is I can get stupid high burst at the beginning of fights, right? But where it sucks is on some of the fights, like the lack of pet cleave is a little annoying. But I don't know. It's just nice. I'm really liking marksman right now. Interesting enough, I feel like I could sim way higher on marks with that serpent sting legendary than I can on beast, unless I figure out a really smooth, consistent way to do the tar trap thing. Obviously, moving in, tapping it twice where I drop a tar trap and then cast a flare on myself will work, but at a distance, it's not going to be good during a boss mechanics. You know what I mean?
No,
because if you're not doing it
agree.
on cooldown, it's a waste of a legendary. So if I'm going to probably end up with multiple legendaries on my hunters, because the one that I'm eyeing that if I don't like tar trap is the one that makes I believe it's either pet crit rate higher or kill command. I think it's pet crit actually what it is during.
No, it's a kill command. I think it makes it do like 20% more damage or something. Yeah, or crit. Yeah, it's a good option.
I know I've read too many Icy Veins and WoW head pages. Like they're starting to blur together.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm super curious to see what team, like, kind of jump into what you're doing. I know you've been playing different teams. I'm curious to see what you're doing with your shamans, but also when that team gets legendary, I'm curious to see what you do with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess with that, I've been kind of almost having to deal with that tar trap issue with if you're using it at cursor, because the entire shaman playstyle is at cursor. Like my earthquakes, which is their AOE ability, at cursor. The Vesper totem, which is the Kyrian Covenant ability, is.
I love Vesper totems.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
but you also kind of need to do it at cursor, especially if you're doing damage, because it's just a radius around that ability.
Yep.
So I'm getting kind of used to that, which makes me more open to using the hunters now, the BM hunters, to be Kyrian with their Covenant ability too, which is going to be an at cursor kind of ability. So
I've got the 4 boxes tied together so that they can at cursor together.
Yeah.
But the camera angle, I spam set 4 so I can get a decent angle. So I don't think it's impossible.
When everybody says 4, is that like a generic standard? Like, is there a 4 that, or is it? Why is 4 always the number, or is that just like what it already comes with as a default? Is there a default 4 that is it a good style for that? I guess I'm saying
for set 4.
Yeah.
You mean on camera view?
Yeah.
It puts it up so that you can. I don't know. Like if this is your character, the camera's up here and looking down, so you get a nice wide view of angle.
Yeah. What I've actually done, I modified it even today further, is I've almost done it like to a helicopter view, where it's even like, it's almost like, it's not like you're looking directly down on the character, but it's pretty close, because I've noticed even at a little bit of an
angle. I use that
angle.
for healing.
Okay.
I have script set 5 twice on my healing reins, so then I can like really see where they are. But that was more for when I wanted to drop it like all together in one spot.
Gotcha. So yeah, I've been working on those, but yeah, like so to kind of like segue to my comps in there, I won't go it too long, but not that Zach kind of summed it up. He said I'm having an identity crisis over the weekend, but I'm not like I just love the variety, right? And I have like 5 comps that I'm trying to make something work that I feel like can, like, I want something that does it all, which probably is like unrealistic. I want something that can do like Mythic Plus, general PvP, and also like arenas, and Druids kind of fit that bill. But at the same time, they do have their limitations in Mythic Plus, and they do have their limitations in PvP as well. But they're still good. So that's what is leading me toward trying to make these shamans work, which is just a tank. You can use any tank. I'm using a prop paladin and 4 LE shamans, because what you can do for PvP, specifically 3v3, is you can convert them into enhancement, and doing melee and PvP is a lot cleaner than casters. Especially when you can just spam interact with target.
Interact with target.
Yeah, you're constantly doing damage, as opposed to like, you're trying to stand a caster and they're just running around you, and like you have to turn to face them, and it just doesn't work, right? So melee is a lot cleaner to make that happen. So that's why I'm trying to make it work. Is
there a reason you didn't do Demon Hunter for the extra spell damage?
I want to do Demon Hunter really bad. The biggest thing is the off heals, as well as I was thinking about like a very specific fight, which was Necrotic Wake, like the last boss. Like you get hit with the frozen binds, and you need to get that character out of the frozen binds. Using 4 DPS, you don't have a dispel, so the Blessing of Freedom from a paladin kind of takes care of that situation. But I am still contemplating to just dropping and putting a Demon Hunter in there. I think a Demon Hunter would serve the purpose just as well.
So technically, I think if you spread out and like get out of the ring and it wears off and then shift into like Ghost Wolf,
yep,
you should be able to not die.
The Comet Storm, which is what his follow ability does, already starts going off before the brute breaks on there. So
it's close.
It's close.
Yeah,
though,
I think it's super close. But I think
usually straight out of the first or second one.
Yeah, but at the same time though, like to get around that, right? Like that's a very specific situation where you could just spec one of them into Resto and then treat them as an elemental, or because you can't switch specs, you would just do the whole dungeon like that, or just bring in 3 spears, make sure you're targeting them with all 3 spears, and be able to do 60% more damage in the first 16 seconds, and then just hopefully just blow the boss up and not have to deal with this. So because 5% more damage on a Demon Hunter is a big deal. Like I was looking at the math. If your characters are doing 2k DPS, which is not crazy, but I mean it's consistent. Like you just add 5% as an extra 100 DPS per per shaman. So you're adding,
Yeah, it's significant.
yeah, you're adding 400 more DPS total, which if you think about it, if one shaman's doing 2K and the other doing 2.4, because that's what you kind of added to the whole group. I mean, it's a big chunk. I don't know. It adds up. And that's just passive. So it's not like you're doing anything different with that. I tried the Wobble Fart comp, Zoc comp. I think Zoc is doing better on it. And I did put a lot of time into it, but I didn't get them to 60 or anywhere close to it. Because I'm trying to just, again, think of a comp that works all the angles. I messed with the paladins a little bit more. But yeah, I'm just trying to burn out these shamans to see if they're going to be fluid. What I'm basically, my goal here this week or even sooner is to basically get them their legendary item. And I was going to go for the one that's coming out next week that you can achieve. But the one I'm going for is when you cast Earthshock, which is like their main spender, it makes your next Earthquake, which is their AoE spender, instead do 175% more damage. So it works out to being a really good single target damage ability as well as a passive, really strong AoE ability, which they kind of struggle with on AoE at the moment for me. So I'm hoping, that it looks good. But that's kind of the goal on my comps this week. And I haven't been pushing Mythic Plus. This is probably a better week for us to do Mythic Plus because it's fortified.
Definitely is.
And I really missed out on the reset because I didn't do a single Mythic Plus on anybody, so I didn't get any great vault loot. I could have done some PvP or something, but I've just been jumping around so much, which is okay, right? Because I'm letting you guys catch up.
I definitely want to
You're letting us catch up.
Sorry, go ahead, Zach.
I was just gonna say I definitely am like looking forward to getting a PvP team, and I think the Shadow Priest could be strong, but like,
yeah, I'm curious to see what you do with those.
I have no interest in PvPing on them.
Yeah. When you don't have interact with target, you have it's not like a high, it's like a ramp up burst, right? It's not like a high just out the gate burst. It's rough.
Yeah, I was originally thinking Mindseer would like take care of my facing concerns because they do move, but it seems as though that wasn't actually the case. So I'm not entirely sure. It's like they flip back.
Did you get anything good out of your vault? I have a legendary helm, and guess what? I got a helm. I was so happy.
That happened to me the first week. This last week I got a really good helm, but I'm wearing legs, so it worked out. I got like the helm off Denathrius on normal, so that was cool.
No, that's pretty sweet.
The vault's huge.
I got upgrades on everybody, but where I actually needed like the one piece that was like my heroic piece, I already have a legendary there.
Yeah, it's frustrating. But the vault overall is huge. Like, realistically, like we're probably going to be stuck in like the mythic 3 to 6 range for like a while.
Probably, yeah.
And like the reward, you're going to get like 207 rewards from your vault for doing mythic 6, and you're not going to get anywhere near that. You're going to get like 197s from mythic.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while to gear up. Yeah, and especially tyrannical weeks too, because it seems like definitely the hardest thing is you can slog through trash and eventually just take it out even if you wipe a couple times. But I mean, if you hit a wall on a boss, you can't just continually slog through it.
You can't just magically create more DPS. Yeah,
exactly. So that's why I'm trying to base a lot of the teams that I'm making off what can they do on a boss fight as opposed to what can they do. If they're really good at clearing trash, I mean, that's really nice. It helps you time those keys, but the boss is the most important part. So
yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's like, I think that's why I got stuck on Paladins and kind of went back to the Trinity comp in the last 2 expansions. Because you'll hit a certain wall where if it's tyrannical, it's almost not worth playing. And there's certain key levels where you'll hit, and it's like you physically just can't do any more damage, even at like best in slot, everything. But with Trinity, your DPS scales with the content, so you can stay ahead or at least have a hope of killing the thing.
And hunters don't really have like as much niche in their DPS. They have like the single target, or they have the cleave and AoE. They probably don't have as much cleave, but they've got decent AoE and they've got decent single target. The Shadow Priests just feel really good single target, and then AoE it just doesn't feel good. So I mean, I don't think I'm going to take them to Mythic plus 10, but I mean, they're feeling good otherwise.
We'll eventually get there, right? Once the gear for us catches up, I'm sure like when we're cruising, if we had eye level 220 gear or something, like it would be a different story. Eventually we'll get there. I think the first season is always the hardest
Yeah, and then we can always be tryhards, right, and take our tanks into raids.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not the organic way, but it works.
Honestly, I think PvP is
pushing
going to be.
content.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
PvP is going to be the way to do it if you like actually
I
want to
agree.
get good.
So to be
I
honest,
think PvP is the way
to
go.
be honest, right? Like to give you perspective on PvP, I don't know how many games you have to play to get rewards. Is it just you have to fill up the conquest for the
I
week?
think it's 10, right?
Oh, or
it's
10.
still a
It's like-
conquest thing.
Yeah, it's not that many
All right,
ones.
so
I thought it was
I don't
also
think it's 10.
honor based too.
it could be, right? So to give the example, this is the only information I have on that. Is I did threes, right? And you don't lose a rating on threes until you hit 1400 rating, and then you can then when you lose a game, you finally lose. But if you do it before that, like it's no big deal. Like you get the loss, it doesn't actually hurt your rating. So I got my team up to like 1420 was the best rating I got, and it gave me a 207 item out of the vault, which is the equivalent of doing a Mythic
hate you
4.
so much.
No, but it was a big mistake.
No,
though.
finishing Mythic 4 through 6.
Yeah.
You don't get a better reward from your cash until you do Mythic 7.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
It
so
sucks.
that's
There's
like a
huge
really
So-
PvP is the way to go.
Yeah, so like exactly on that, and on top of that being ridiculous, you then can upgrade that item with honor. Like
Yeah.
so I got a 207 weapon, right? And then I could
You
just
could get to 220.
yeah, I could keep beefing it up. So and to note on that too, the other thing I was
Wait,
thinking
you
about
can take a 207 to 220?
Yep.
Wow.
You could take your weapon all the way to 220
and
from PvP.
and literally like I was saying, I got a 207 piece, and you gain that rating while still losing. It's like you could literally lose 5 games and win a game. You don't have to even be good at PvP, like if it's not your thing, because like a lot of the games, you'll get games where like, oh, somebody on their team didn't join in, so it's a 2v3, right? Or they just they're killing the rating on purpose, and they're losing, or they're going to leave the game. Because I've had games, not right in this season, but last season, where you'd run in and they just run to the middle of the map and just sit there and let you blow them up, like they wouldn't do anything. So you're gonna get a bunch of freebies in that process. And so on top of that, even if you're thinking about like a Trinity comp, which is typically not a PvP comp, I did pretty well doing 1 prot paladin and 2 BM hunters in threes. You kind of just auto follow works until you get in the map. Just get in the map, run to like an area where you're kind of out in the open, and then just drive from your paladin and just kind of like make sure the did we lose somebody?
That was weird.
Okay, I think Zonk may have gone to the bathroom or something. Did he have to go to the bathroom again? There
No,
he
he
is.
didn't. My Discord just like decided to shit out.
So
Sorry.
either way, so you can even PvP with a Trinity comp, and I could still get those items. So I think now that I didn't realize that you don't get a better reward until you do like a 7, then I'm gonna need to start PvPing.
Remember
Yeah, that's why
how
I'm
I
leveling up
said
PvP.
Yeah.
Shadowlands might get me back into PvP. I think you're just validating that.
Well, that's why I want to make a team that can also PvP too, because I've done a little.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
done a little bit of world PvP. My enhancement shamans have like eye level 130 items, but an assassin was running in the map. It was like a group of like 4 people. They were just like ganking everybody, and they saw me and they tried to like gank me because I was in the hive mind. I guess they didn't see that there was like 5, and I just popped out and just like they still kind of blew up.
Rip their face off. And
Yeah.
just, yeah.
With the shamans though, it really helps too, because especially in the lower ratings, Counter Strike Totem is an insane ability.
Counter Strike and Thunderstorm, right?
So you wouldn't get that for enhanced, but the Counter Strike though, basically it does back the same damage they do to you while it's up. It only has 5 hit points. So but a lot of teams would just not even target it, especially if you drop,
they ignore it.
if you drop 3 of them at the
tunnel
same
on you.
time, I mean they're losing out in the process anyway.
Oh
So,
my god.
yes.
Yes.
So I've had a lot of matches where the Counter Strike Totem will do more DPS than my shamans. It's pretty cool.
So with the 5 pallies, I don't know if you've ever ran it, but I started running it towards the end of BFA, which was I would just run my prop pally with my 4 pallies as ret, and I was able to push keys higher that way. So I don't know if you've even played with ret this expansion yet. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I
you
want
get those instant cast heals too.
I want to go ret for sure for threes, because they're really really strong.
Yeah,
in
for
threes.
threes, of course. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you could push a paladin team with paladins. You have all 3, the option of having 3 DPS, a tank, and a healer. You could do Trinity with pallies. You could do
That's true.
4 ret with a pally. You could do 5 prot.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what you do with that too. You could probably try to push content harder and have a PvP team built in.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But then he has to melee Mythic Plus, which is pretty difficult.
yeah,
But he goes
Unless
prot.
you're on tank, yeah, I guess.
yeah, that's gonna be the like you said, like the mechanics. You were leading.
You'll cap out.
Yeah, exactly. You'll cap out because the mechanics this expansion are every expansion, they just keep getting more and more complicated. So.
But conduits are scaling too, though, so that adds an element that we didn't have before.
That is
so
true.
Maybe you don't cap as fast.
Yeah, or there's always a way you can just squeeze out more damage there.
Yeah, I don't know. They just did such a good job with this expansion. There's so much stuff you can do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel forced to do anything.
No.
Catch-up mechanics are baked in almost every category.
Oh yeah, for sure. I switched
They
my
did
team
such a good job.
to Kyrian, I think today or yesterday on my shamans, and they're already like renown 9. Like, so like I didn't have to do anything. They just like
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they just comes back, and then I don't feel like I have to do the callings, which is the emissaries. I don't have to do them all if I don't want to. Like, I haven't really even done Torghast, but I'm going to be doing it now because I want to get some legendaries out of it. But you don't have to do them. It's really nice. I agree. It's everything is like there, but you don't have to do it. So I like it.
I feel like the only thing that's borderline mandatory is do the weekend event and then do a couple Mythic Plus for your vault.
Yep.
The vault's the only mandatory thing, but there's like 20 ways to get there.
Exactly. Totally agree. So with that, do you guys want to do tier list? Do you want to leave that for next week? What are you thinking? And are you on time?
I think we were going to ask if anybody had any ideas for things they wanted for a tier list to leave it as feedback
next week.
Okay.
And then just bring up tier list as like our closing, like, yo, this is what we're thinking. What do you guys think? Let people leave comments and chat or on YouTube.
All right.
So what are you doing next week, multi-days? You went last, so you go first this time.
Well, if we're going to count from like now to like the next podcast, obviously we got some holidays. I still plan on streaming during this time. But I don't know if I'm going to.
You hear the wife screaming in the background.
Yeah,
no, he's not.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So it's going to be hit or miss, right? It's one of those things where you can definitely ruin your entire holiday times if you play too much gaming, especially with the family in the background. So we'll see. But I'm going to see how this shaman team works out. If not, it's either the Trinity comp or the Druids probably is what I'm going to be focusing on, just to get something rolling on there, because competition is coming pretty fast now in terms of, I don't know, competition breeds success for me. So as soon as somebody's like,
I'm super competitive too.
Yeah, no, and it's good though, right? Because I mean that's like the things that people, it's just interesting. I don't know, it's entertaining too. So and especially when I know somebody else can do it. It's weird when someone else can do something, then all of a sudden you're like, all right, I can do that too. Like you it gives you like the I don't know if it's confidence or what or the drive or anything. So it's good.
What about are you going to target doing any mythics on the Druids before the weekly reset?
For this week, sure. I'll get at least a 2 or a 3 done this week. If not, I did a 4 last time, and my eye level's gotten a little bit better, so I wasn't even anywhere close to timing the 4. But yeah, I'll definitely do something for them. They shouldn't be too hard, as long as I get decent keys. Which I do want to note real quick. I did a Theater of Pain today, and the boss that was basically making it a no-go got nerfed a little bit, and it's totally a doable dungeon now. So we have no dungeons, I feel like, that are not doable.
Which one did they nerf?
Zav, XAV, or maybe it's...
Oh yeah, that's the one that I didn't know had mechanics.
Yeah, so right. It's a lot more simplistic. I don't know what they did differently, but basically he takes your soul, like 2 of the characters get their soul taken, and you have to grab your soul back. You can't really do anything.
That's not Zav. I thought Zav was the guy that throws you in the pit.
Maybe the guy I'm thinking of, yeah, the soul guy. Is he the
You're talking about the gripping hands,
yes.
And the soul that gets set up and you gotta touch it.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing is they've made the gripping hands a lot easier, and you can actually just stand in the hands before you lose your soul. So that's all you do is you just run your whole comp into the hands, and then as soon as he grabs the souls, and then you just kind of like stutter step a little bit to the side. You grab your thing back, and you're just back in action. Like the whole mechanics of it is way easier now. Okay, yeah. So it's cool.
I actually solo ran that after the last podcast where Jabber's like, just stand in the hands, and like I was telling my pug group, just stand in the hands. We went from like everybody dying, and I almost finished it as the pally tank to like no deaths. I was like, pro tips by Jabbery.
There, exactly. No, he's got some good info. He actually gave us the other one too. Telling me about the views too. So I need to try out the different views, see what they look like. But I've already modified. I've already modified set view 1, so we'll see what 4 looks like.
And then Zoc, what are you planning on doing?
I'm gonna level a melee comp. Probably gonna save Trinity for last. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
Trinity's on like the horizon too.
Yeah.
I just
It's like you dread it, but it's so good. You know, it's like
yeah, that's always been my whole thing. Is it's like it's always the best, but it's not really that exciting. So
yeah.
I mean, winning is exciting. So it's like I guess by virtue, it's fun, but it's never that
Yeah.
exciting.
I think if you expand it, like if you do that and then you get decent gear and then you do like some threes with them, like I was mentioned before, I think like it adds like a little bit better element. Like you get some variety out of it because you can't do anything
Maybe
else.
I don't know. I've
Yeah.
tried PvP on hunters in the past and I've hated it. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just gonna level these 4 DKs and a paladin, and I'm just gonna like go beat up on kids in world PvP, and that'll be all I need.
There you go.
So I really like PvP on a hunter as a solo player. I used to main one, but in threes, honestly, what I've done is I just play with my one hunter like I'm playing solo, and then hope that the other two burst down the first target before they're dead, and then hope I can finish off whatever's left.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree with Zoc. Hunters and 3v3 just are not fun if you're boxing them.
So what you can do to kind of like, so if you go marks, you get the camo, right? So basically, it basically gives
exactly
you
what I
it
did.
basically gives
I
you
popped out
stealth.
with aim shots.
Yeah, so you can do the double tap aim shot. So hypothetically, if you had 3 of them in there, the first target should die with 3 hunters doing aim shots. Out of stealth, like they'll never even see you casting. I don't think. Like you just like literally open up and it's just do, and it's they should be done.
Yeah.
Then at that point it's a 2v3. Hopefully it works out. But yeah, there's options. But yeah,
The problem is if you get caught out, or if
yeah,
or you can easily be 2v3'd as a hunter. Like if
Monday, Tuesday,
if you could do that in twos, maybe I could see that being fun. But I don't know about threes.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
But
so are you gonna stream or do videos on your priest or anything?
I'm gonna do a priest video. So I did a DK Paladin video prior to Shadowlands, like literally the week they announced that software boxing was done. So I'm gonna do a video similar to that for priest that kind of walks through like the talent choices, like why I think it's good, and kind of goes through that, and then people can make their own decision as to whether or not they want to play it.
The number crunch of the group.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a little less like numbers and more like high level qualitative stuff more than anything, but I don't really get too deep in the numbers.
All right, these guys are blasting sounds. Hold on, I have to turn it off.
So I can't hear sounds in the Discord, but your stream probably has them.
Yeah, I thought I turned them off.
Time them out for a second.
I guess so. No more sounds. Give me a second.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Yeah. Awful. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that, guys.
No, so that's all. I basically just want to create the content. So if somebody's like, I want to make a team, oh, Shadow Priests look cool. Like I want people to know what they're getting themselves into. Because I don't know. Like I know boxing really well, so like I kind of knew what I was getting into, and like I'm kind of fine with the pitfalls of the team, so to speak. But like I could see how somebody else who like maybe doesn't understand the priest class as well, or like isn't willing to like set it up right, could like be very frustrated.
Totally.
Oh yeah.
Remember the first time you converted over to IS Boxer? I don't know when you got into boxing, and then key maps came out, and like a lot of people were using key clone back in the day.
Yeah.
I spent hundreds of hours on my IS Boxer setup over like 10 years or 8 years or however long.
A lot of people enjoyed playing IS Boxer more than actually like the game itself.
Yeah, I'm convinced.
It was like a meta game.
Yeah, it's good though. It's like it was like a big puzzle. You keep figuring things out. So we have that still, but it's a little different. So
yeah.
Now we just have cooler master profiles.
I don't know how that became like the keyboard.
I'm still thinking
bad
about getting another keyboard, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah, I don't feel like it's good, but it's not like it's like I don't know. It's good.
For $165, I got I have 2 of them. I'm like, I probably could have got a better keyboard, but
yeah,
I got up and running fast. So now I'm in optimized mode, and once I'm in optimized mode, I'll make it look pretty.
True.
Like I've started focusing on streaming again. I haven't really streamed seriously other than with my kids since like 2010, 2012 era, when I actually did it almost not quite full time, but it was like go to work, raid, stream. That's basically what I did. And then it was basically go to work, stream, because I'm multiboxing dungeons or PvP. Because like back then all I focused on was arena. So I'll try to get my stream set up. I started that again. So it's, twitch.tv/lolshock.
Yep.
that's probably going to be a focus upcoming weeks for me. And then definitely going to Torghast with my hunters. And then I'm going to start trying to push mythics with both the Trinity and the Druids, while I also play healer roulette on my Trinity group. I've got a shaman that I got to figure out if I'm going to level him solo play or run him through. I don't know. There's too much stuff to do, not enough time, basically.
Exactly. It's good. It's a good thing to have, though. It's a good issue to have.
Yeah, it's way better than being bored out of your mind
Yeah.
like a week into it, like the latest EverQuest expansion that I've honestly logged into twice.
Yeah, I just got to figure out names for my next character set. And you can see I've been running into problems because I named my characters Wobble Farts, but...
Yeah.
Start using special characters.
That's what,
No,
that's what I had to do on
hate it.
mine. I know.
Hate it.
It's no fun, but
Really?
there's only so many Mondays you can pick.
I'm not
So
a fan of using ASCII characters now.
I do special characters on all mine. And then, like, I have number 3's account, all has 3. Number 4, all has 4. Number 5, all has 5. It
Yeah.
sucks when you try to copy and paste something in the WTF folder.
Yes.
Because it's like, wait, which is it the umlaut that's my paladin, or is it the little curé that's the paladin?
Yeah, well, it kind of goes back to like the key clone days, actually, when you had like hard coded macros. And I've just always had an aversion pretty much ever since those days.
Yeah.
It's pretty much entirely it.
So our question, are we asking the questions in here, or how are we doing the piece here? Oh, and
I think
the last thing, sorry, on that, Zoc, what is your streaming channel going to be as well?
Yeah, it's Z0K90.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, go ahead.
Were you
Sorry.
born in 1990 by chance?
I was, yeah.
Oh man.
It's really easy to remember my age. You just add 10 years to whatever the year is.
That's nice. So Zoc had a good idea. We were talking in Discord today. He brought up publishing a tier list for dungeons, and I think before we throw a bunch of time at it, we wanted people to, reply in chat if they're interested in it, as well as, if you're watching this not live later, leave a comment on YouTube. But, high level, do we do something like, from a boxing perspective, rate the dungeons easy, medium, hard on normal, heroic, mythic, then only for mythic, do a tier list by your team comp. So it's like Trinity, here's your best dungeons. Druids, here's your best dungeons. I'll give you a hint, it's all of them. And then other comps like Priest. Are we overthinking it? Is it something that people don't even care about? I don't know, Zoc seems like the numbers guy. I feel like we could do something nice with this if the community wants it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Days actually had a list back in BFA. When I first started getting into Mythic Dungeons in BFA, I posted on Dual Boxing asking if what Mythic Dungeons are the easiest to get into, and he had this whole list. So I was just kind of envisioning something like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
But yeah, we could take it a step further.
Yeah, it'll be good to have a cohesive kind of response to, as opposed to just me being like, oh, this one's easy for me or hard.
Well, yeah, it'd be nice to have feedback too,
Yeah,
right? Because
exactly.
I think you had rated Underrot as being very hard, and then I did it. I'm like, this dungeon's freaking sweet, dude.
Terrible dungeon, terrible. I agree.
But then you said a Taldazar is easy, and I'm like, what the?
I think I used to try to build lists like those. I used to do. Yeah. I used to try to do the list on both when they'd come out on mechanics, but also, it was easy. But I feel like Halls of Atonement is, everybody should just start there. It's the easiest one, hands down, on every comp.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can call it there. That'd be good for this
I
one.
don't know. I think my Mac was overheating and/or batteries dying.
That's okay. Yeah, there was a little bit of a delay
podcast
there.
in.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if it was on my
delay.
side, but it looked good. Yeah, I guess that's a good stopping point, anyways.
Yep.
I hope everybody has a good holiday though.
Yeah.
We got lots of time to play or just relax and veg out. So we'll go with that.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next week.
Next week, next Wednesday.
All right, guys. It was
All right.
good.
Bye.
See you.